So before we discuss about the word called as AI or artificial intelligence, yeah, definitely machine learning, understanding patterns, help in automation, perfect. So team, before we discuss about the concept of AI and what is AI and all, first of all we have to understand a concept called as natural intelligence. There's a word called as natural intelligence. So what is this natural intelligence? So this is an ability. This is basically an ability that the humans, or we can say some animal possess. To give you an example for this, like basically from a childhood you see a lot of things, you have an ability to think, learn, or you're able to adapt based on your experiences. Like for example, you learn how to ride a bicycle. You know, like maybe in between you fall, you adjust your balance, you basically get better over time. You basically recognize people, you identify your friend's face in the crowd. You can basically have a intelligent memory, you know how to make decisions. You have emotions, you have some instincts like what should be done, what to do. You're aware of the situation, right? And that is basically something you have acquired for over a period of time, right? So as a part of the evolution, humans and animals has developed this thing biologically, right? Through your brain structures, through the interaction with various environments and all, you basically learn things like based on your experiences, emotions, trial and error, creativity. Based on that, you have an ability by in built in yourself, right? And that is basically what we call as a natural intelligence, right? But when you say natural intelligence, that is something which the humans and the animals which possess biologically, right? So bringing this kind of a intelligence, bringing this intelligence to the machines, to a system, to a architecture is basically what we call as the artificial intelligence. Okay, so what I'm saying, team, bringing this particular capabilities, okay, bringing this particular capabilities to the to a machine is basically what we call as a AI. So I will give an example. I'll give an example. If I tell you a simple example for a AI, you will not believe it actually, but I'll show you a simple example for AI. So let's suppose that, team. Now I'm making a program. Okay, I'm making a simple program which basically give you outputs, maybe a billing software, or basically a application you develop for calculation. So those things are the the initial forms of AI, we can say. So you're trying to give the ability to machines to think like humans is basically what we call as a AI. So basically it's a very broader and very wider concepts. So you're trying to make a machine or a computer mimic what people are thinking regarding decision making, regarding performing certain actions intelligently is basically what we call as a AI. So I will give an example. So starting from your regular usage of your applications or assistants like Siri, Alexa, Cortana, or these kind of things, to using smart vehicles, using intelligent robotic surgery procedures. So like this, AI have a lot of applications. So providing the intelligence which you are expecting, uh, like humans, you're expecting to have that intelligence to the machines is basically what we call as a AI or artificial intelligence. But again, we can develop intelligence, but as of now, you may not be able to have a complete emotions, or it may not have a consciousness. Like basically now you have a consciousness that you exist, right? But at the same time, if you basically go to a machine and you train that particular AI thing, they will not basically have something called as a consciousness, that they will not, as of now they will not know that they exist. They are a machine or they exist, they don't have that consciousness there, right? So bringing the intelligence except this consciousness, emotions, etc., is primarily what we call as a AI or artificial intelligence. Now that AI is everywhere, like basically if you see AI starting from medical applications to information security to any IT sector, so to your day-to-day life, AI is now everywhere. Everybody is using AI for multiple things. But when you say this word AI, as a part of this word called as AI, you also hear a word called as ML, right? Machine learning. Now, whenever we say the word AI, I have seen people say machine learning. So, team, is it same as AI? It's a subset of AI. I agree. So I will give a simple example, team. So when you're talking about the word called as natural intelligence, like for example, you have a huge crowd there, and in the middle of the crowd, you recognize your friend's face. That's a natural intelligence. And you use the facial recognition software is called as a artificial intelligence. Now When talking about the word called as machine learning or machine learning, what do you mean by this, team? So as we said, it's a subset of AI only. So basically now you are making these machines having this intelligence. So having this intelligence to your machine, having this artificial intelligence to your machines is basically what we call as a machine learning. So for example, let's say now you have a it's a AI is a broader concept, and when you basically go for machine, instead of giving manual programming, instead of basically telling them with a simple if else statement, okay, if this do this, else do this, like if instead of simply giving them a simple if else statement, you're basically giving them the ability to intelligently work based on situations, work based on scenarios using a particular uh, you know intelligence is basically what we call as a machine learning. So it's a subset of AI which basically specifically refer to a machine learning from the data or machine learning from various aspects without explicitly programming it is basically primarily what we call as a machine learning. Okay, it's actually there, nowadays. If you basically take an example, chat gpt, if you take anything, chat gpt, or this deepseek, or maybe anything, all these are basically the machine learning concepts we are having right now. When talking about this AI, ML, all this stuff like that, what is the benefit of this? Do we really get any benefit from this when talking about AI and all? Now I can see that everybody here is using ChatGPT or any kind of AI software, right? At any point, one point of another, everybody here have used some kind of a AI software there or AI thing, right? So what is the reason why you're going for AI? Obviously, the first thing is that AI have a lot of benefits. When talking about AI, you have a lot of benefits there. And primarily speaking, the primary benefit of AI is basically the automation. Okay, so basically now instead of making a person or a human person do their day-to-day job like a repetitive task and all these things, you can automate this. AI make the process more easy. Like for example, let's say you go for a car manufacturing plant, and in the car manufacturing plant, instead of basically involving humans there to basically do some tedious task and all, you can make the machines do the activity there with more speed and accuracy and efficiency and all, right? Also basically you can like this is the common approach which we are having. So instead of having the like you hear that you see this support, customer support, right? When you basically go to some websites and all, you see customer support, right? That means normally what happens is that there is a person on the other side who will basically listen to your query or basically understand the query and respond to it, right, based on your concerns and queries you're having. But instead of that, now we have specific AI models which can help us to have chatbots to handle your regular inquiries, routine inquiries and all, and basically to make the interaction more efficient and less time consuming. That's a very important thing. Also it can help us to have a proper decision making and problem solving. If I can give an example now, for example, let's say uh, to help in medical diagnostics, team, I hope you heard this news, right? Recently, a few days back, the AI was able to predict a very very rare disease which was not able to be detected by 17 doctors. So almost like 17 doctors examined that particular patient, and they were not able to diagnose a disease, and this AI tool was able to specifically identify the disease condition of that patient, right? Like this, there is a lot of benefits that the AI offer, like for research, for healthcare, for finance, for IT sector. So basically when so I can give you one more example. Now normally, team, you heard about the sim tool, right? SIM tools, and you heard of the sim tool. So when talking, yeah, incident management and many other aspects, right? So when talking about incident management for identifying the various anomalies and all, instead of just giving the signatures and pre-programmed scenarios, we can basically tell that particular AI tool, or we can basically use this AI, we can integrate AI to various security solutions like sims or CSPM or multiple kind of tools like that, and make the decisions more efficiently. Like you can lesser time consuming, more optimal, right? We have a lot of benefits there when you basically go for AI. Also, it can basically help us to, like, for example, let's say safety in the sense means, let's say for example, there is a scenario where humans are involved in some kind of activity like mining or some kind of activity, humans are involved. So instead of having that particular person do that risky job which can basically be dangerous to that person, we can basically use AI powered bots, AI powered microbots, robots, and all we can use, right, for disaster recovery, for multiple activities we can do that, right. And the best thing, now when you basically use Google, right, you use Google a lot, you use Google, you use Amazon for shopping, So what is the reason why use Google team? Like I'll give an example. Now we have this Google. We have there is a other search engine called as DuckDuckGo. Team, do you know why most people use Google and less people use this particular search engine? Any reason, anyone? Most of you use Google only, right? We can use another search engines like Yahoo also, DuckDuckGo also. Many other websites are there. Why people only specifically go for Google? So I have, let's say you are opening your browser, you sign into Google, you're already signed in to Google. When you basically search for a particular term, okay, like for example, let's say I'm searching for a term like some kind of a terminology. So if I am searching as a IT professional, when I'm or I, as an information security professional, when I search a term called as a virus, you can just try it out, team. When I basically search for a term called as virus, okay, so what result I will get is regarding this computer kind of virus, right? The malware kind of virus. That's what I get. But at the same time, if this is basically searched by a doctor or a medical person, do you know what you get? You get a different kind of results, right? How is it possible? How do they know you're a doctor? How do they know you're a IT professional? So based on your requirements, based on your location, based on your what you're trying to understand, or what you're trying to search, based on your previous search history, based on the things you type, like the time you take, the location, and multiple other what is trending, you will get more optimized, more specific results. That's why you go to Google, right? I'll give an example. You just go to Google and type coffee shops near me. What do you'll get? You'll get the exact places near you, right? But at the same time, if you basically go for the so DuckDuckGo and search coffee shops near me, and I'm currently in India, and I'll get coffee shops in US. That's what get right. So Google is basically able to give you more. Like if you go to Google, if you go to YouTube, if you go to Facebook, if you go to LinkedIn, if you go to Amazon, if you go to Flipkart, so how you are getting this experience better? How they are able to suggest you things which you are thinking, right? So now you are thinking about something, and they are able to show you the results there based on various factors. And one major thing now they have integrated is basically the artificial intelligence that basically makes the process more easier. So like it can help you to tailor the products, services, information based on the individual needs and preferences. It basically helps us to bring the accessibility and all, like it helps the process more easier, right? Like that. So if AI is basically give, that's the reason why people go for AI. Obviously, that's the reason why people go for AI. AI offers you a lot of benefits, because I have recently, when I gone through for a long time, when I gone through multiple things, you can see some thousand benefits of AI there. But the same time, AI offers you benefits. It also does a lot of harms, right? Like it can cause you a lot of harms. Okay, so AI is now everywhere. I'll give an example. So you have this automatic resume sorting things when you go to organizations. You have a job application mechanisms. You have a healthcare mechanisms. You have medical and other applications for AI. So AI is now they are everywhere, giving you a lot of benefits. At the same time, it offers you benefits. The harms of AI are plenty. The harms which is caused by AI is plenty. The common thing is basically what we call as a job displacement and all. Okay, now when talking about the word called as job displacement, so basically, let's say for example, this actually happened. This actually happened for even Amazon, also multiple companies as well. So basically, what happens is that let's say for example we have a AI there, which is basically processing the, let's say, a job application. Okay, maybe like for example they will consider a person from, or a person from a particular place only, or maybe they will basically consider maybe only males or only females, like that. That can cause basically like suggesting or like allowing only a particular set of people to basically get into a job, like that. This is not may not be intentional, because of the data which is the AI model trained on. I'll explain that, don't worry. But it may be happening because of the data which the AI model is trained on. So basically, I'll give an example. So for example, let's say now it was there. Basically, bias is a very common trouble with AI actually. So what happened was, like for example, let's say we have a facial recognition system. Assume, Okay, and basically this is used by the, let's say, the police department. So what they happen, so let's say for example the police department camera is there, which is basically identifying people and identifying those peoples with a criminal background or suspected history is there. So what happened, so maybe based on skin tones, maybe based on the some gestures, maybe based on certain factors, the AI may confuse with a actual a normal person with a criminal or maybe someone else, which can happen multiple times as well, right? So bias and discrimination is a very important thing, because based on the training data, based on over a period of it, like period of utilization, the AI models may end up in having a lot of biasing or discrimination or challenges and all. That's a very common thing which can happen, which can also cause privacy violations, because as AI is basically now used everywhere. So there is a trend which is happening for a long time now, right? What is a name called Gilby, right? Something like that, right? Some kind of a Gib, what is that name? Gilby Act, right? Something like that. It's a common thing. So what happens? You're able to convert your picture. So what is happening there actually? So when you basically use this particular filter to convert a photo to a particular art, what is happening there? That is basically they are collecting a lot of your data. There is a lot of data getting collected. So like basically if I'm using this AI powered surveillance cameras across the cities in a country, so what happened, it can basically raise the concerns, because it takes images and videos of people's everywhere, like including like like your face recognition, that they basically track your various aspects, which can be used for further attacker perspectives and all. And basically if there is attacker who is able to compromise into that, that will also make a lot of trouble, right? Like that. Then other security challenges can happen, like basically adverse deep fakes is a very common thing right now. Deep fakes can happen. Even in fact, that is one of the biggest challenge we are having now, right? We are basically having deep fakes which exactly look real. Okay, it needs an intense level of understanding to identify if it's a real or fake one, because when you see modern pictures now, you can't guess whether it's a real picture or fake picture. It's a very challenging thing. The deepfakes is a very common thing, right? Then I can give you a more common example. You heard about the self-driving cars, right? So attackers can basically hack into this cars or basically misinterpret a sign, and they can create an accident like that. It can be a very real challenge we are having. Also, when there is a wrong prediction happened, or there is something got wrong, it can basically have a lack of accountability. Nobody will take the accountability for a particular action which can happen like that. There can be a lot of things, and most important thing which basically now getting concerned, other like, which is called as a dependence and de-skilling. I'll give an example, team. Now, how many people remember more than 100 phone numbers now, or at least 50 phone numbers now, team? When you have the smartphones came in the, or when you have those mobile phones came in the market, before mobile phones, I'm sure that at least, or like if you are a person who is in the 80s or 90s, who basically started with that regular land phone something, you will remember at least 50 phone numbers, right? At least 10 to 30 to 50 phone numbers you remember, right? And after all this time, now if you basically you sometimes, some people don't even remember their phone number. So what happens, that can basically cause a lot of de-skilling, right? So your memory, you're not using your brain, because what happened, what is the problem there? As over reliance on AI is there, de-skilling of human people are basically increasing a lot. I will give an example, team. Now, normally what happens when a teacher ask a student to make a article on something, or write about a particular thing, or maybe write an article. What happens? Normally the people think it from their mind and write it by themselves. But after this AI came in the market, what is happening? Just go to ChatGPT or Gemini or something and basically type, write me an article on these things which looks like human, and they will give you exact article with all the all the the grammar, everything is perfect. You will get the exact article, right? So it makes it even more challenging, because people don't have to use their creative mindset. People don't have to use their abilities. So over a period of time, this over dependence on tools, over dependence on this particular thing, can cause language ability challenges, basically your long term thought process, your critical thinking. Then your normal regular, like your spellings, spell checking, everything is basically going to be drifting away. It's basically going to affect people also. This is basically a lot of harms which can be caused by AI. Now, like I say in every session, so Krish, if AI is basically causing this much amount of harms, so shall we really implement AI? AI harms are basically there everywhere, because if I take this as a session, it can be like almost like a whole 4 hours I can take for this AI harms only. But if AI have this much amount of harms, then do I have to really use AI? Can I completely uninstall ChatGPT, Gemini, and everything from my phone and computer? I will not use AI. Is it like that? So it's not like removing AI from your day-to-day operations or your enterprise activities. It's using it responsibly, using it sensibly. That's the most important thing, team. So don't think like, okay, just because AI is basically causing this much amount of challenges to you, privacy challenges, security challenges, de-skilling, dependency. So if as this is causing all these things, I should not basically eliminate the AI things from my day-to-day operations or life. It's more than that. AI should be used in a perspective, in a responsible manner. We should use it responsibly. We should use it intellectually based on our requirements. It is not something which is should be replacing the human intelligence. It should be supporting the human intelligence. That's a point you have to always keep in mind, team. When talking about AI, always keep in mind it is not something which should replace humans or which replace the human intelligence. Instead of that, it's something which should be supporting the actual human intelligence. Right? That's a very important thing. So I'm talking about this AI ML for last 20-25 minutes, right? But what is this, or how do I classify AI? What are the different type of AI we are having, or how do I basically classify the AI? See, now it's not only about hacking, Devendra, it's not about hacking the CCTV cameras only. It's about collecting the data of individuals, right? So what is happening there? So there is a company who basically connect all using AI. They are able to identify all your facial aspects using this face recognition skills and all, and they are collecting all your data. You should be aware that what data they are collecting about you, right? You should be aware that for what they are using it, right? You should be aware that how long they are keeping it, what are the challenges it's going to face, right? That's what I'm talking about. It's not only about just getting compromised. More than getting compromised, the responsible use of AI. Like let's say for example, we have a hospital who is collecting all your data. Okay, who is collecting all your data, and that data can be used for any purpose they want. Maybe for any further analysis, gene analysis, or maybe any kind of reverse engineering, or maybe for identifying some. So it can be challenged, right? You should know what your data is getting used for, right? Yeah, team, please make sure you post all the questions publicly. If it's until it's a personal question, can you please post the things publicly so that others can also answer? So how AI is based and biased, and so basically AI can be biased. I'll give an example. Now let's say for example, I will discuss this for sure in detail, but let's say for example, we have an AI model here. Okay, we have an AI model. So think about this like a code. Okay, so this AI model, I am telling the AI model using some data. Okay, so for example, let's say we have a data of, let's say, cats, and the common example of AI, cats and dogs. So I am basically giving some thousand pictures of cat, or let's say some 1 million pictures of some cats and dogs, and I'm telling this is a cat and this is a dog. So what will happen? These cats and dog pictures, they will basically understand, and they will identify various patterns, right? Like the same way, when talking about like training data, based on data, they will understand whatever further based on the data which is basically provided to them. So for example, let's say, team, if I am training a model for identifying people on a construction site, on a factory, or places like that, we are basically putting some aspects on training the model. So maybe that model at the end of the day, when they are identifying or analyzing the resumes or people capabilities, they will only favor male employees. They will only bias to male employees. The chance of getting that to female employees will be, or female people will be less. Possible, right? It can happen, right? Like the same way, what if I train the AI model using data from only a particular part of a country or a particular country? That can basically affect other people, or maybe people from a different race or different origin from that, getting that particular job. Like this, biasing can happen because of multiple aspects. Maybe because of the training data which I'm using to train the model, or over a period of time it get confused, like that. Multiple things. Clear? Perfect. Now, when talking about AI, we can classify AI in multiple ways. It's not like one single way. We can classify AIs in multiple models actually. Okay, like for example, I can classify AI models, but we'll do one thing, team. Before I talk about the models and all, I will talk about the building blocks of AI, so you'll understand what is a model and all. Now, when talking about AI, these are the four core components of an AI. You may find five or six in different documents, but in a more generic, simple way, you have a four building blocks of AI: the data, the algorithm, the compute, and the human expertise. Okay, the data, the algorithm, the compute, and the human expertise. So, team, if you're not talking, please keep your mics on mute. Okay. So, team, when talking about the AI, okay, when talking about the AI, so let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. Let's understand the concept of a data. So data is the foundation for any AI. I'll give an example. So basically, let's say for example, now I want that AI to work. So first of all, if I want AI to work, the data is the building block of it. Okay, data is so for example, let's say you want to build an AI system which can do something called as a weather forecasting. Just a simple example. Okay, you want to have an AI system to do a weather forecasting. If you want to do a weather forecasting, you should collect data from the satellites and all, right? And that is a data. So basically, you want to identify disease. If you want to identify disease, first of all, you have to get the medical records right. That's a data. If you want to give a product recommendation to a customer, you have to basically get the customer purchase history right, or search history right. That's a data. So data is the building block of an AI. Don't forget, data is the building block of an AI. Okay, so let's say for example, assume that you are let's say you are basically using Netflix. So Netflix uses your viewing history, the rating on your country, the preferences, and various other factors of the user to recommend movies to you. So for example, it's like self-driving cars, so what they do, they use various cameras, various sensors and all to collect data and recognize objects and all, and basically give you suggestions right, or give you driving decisions right. So that is the data. So data is the foundation of the AI. Okay, data is the foundation of AI. And this data, okay, and this data, you are use or you are so how do you process this data? If you want to process this data, you should have something called as an algorithm. You can think about algorithm as a simple instruction set. Very simple way. You can think about data as a, or algorithm as a simple set of instructions. So on how to process data or how to learn from it. Okay, so algorithm is a set of instructions which basically process data, learn from it, and make decisions. That's a brain, we can say. Okay, the things you feed, you're using your, let's say if you take an example of a human here, so your eyes, your ears, your like this, you have your skin, so you have some sensory organs, right? So using that organs, the data you collect is processed by your brain. Now tell me, team, if you don't have a brain which is working, can you feel the touch? Can you see a person? Can you speak? Can you listen? Is it possible, team? No, right? Like the same way, algorithm is a brain. When comparing with humans, algorithm is a brain of the AI. So basically, like for example, if you talk about NLPs, if you talk about various algorithms, I'll show you some examples of that. So they are the recipes, they are the things. So in fact, if you basically want to see, this is an example for a algorithm. So I'll just show you an example here. See, this is an example for algorithm. So for example, let's say, let me just copy something here. See, this is an example for algorithm. See this, team. Simple example for algorithm. So what does this do? So they will basically compare two numbers and swap them. That's all. Now you may feel, Krish, where is the intelligence there? I'll discuss that, don't worry. But I'm just saying that algorithm can be a code, or maybe we can say algorithm is basically on how it works. It's a processing capability. So you develop your intellect based on various inputs, right? Various factors, various things in the world. Like the same way, the algorithm is something which basically act as a brain for the AI. So when you say a AI model, when you talk about the word called as an AI model, that AI model is a combination of this data and algorithm. When somebody tell you that there is an AI algorithm or AI model, understand that it's a combination. You can have a proper and effective AI model which combines this data and algorithms efficiently. Now, the third thing is basically very important thing, which is the compute capacity. Now, if you want to store this data, if you want to store this data, if you want to store this algorithm, if they want to get analyzed, if they want to work in an efficient manner, where they can work, they should have the proper amount of CPU capacity, they should have the proper amount of memory capacity, they should have the proper amount of network capacity, they should have the proper amount of analytical capabilities, storage capabilities, and all right. And combined together, we call it as a compute. So don't forget, computational power or computational is the engine. Okay, so basically what happens, it's like a actual thing. So basically, if your machine learning or AI model has to work, or if they want to train, if they want to work, they should have what? They should basically have something called as a underlying computational capacity. So that is what allows the AI to basically store, process, and manage a large amount of data and run your algorithms and all. So how much better the hardware, the faster and more the efficient AI becomes. Like it should have a graphical processing, CPU memory, and all right. That's basically like we can use supercomputers, we can use cloud platforms, we can use your mobile phone for running this AI. It is there. It is, we call edge devices, we call it as. You can run the AI from cloud computing, from supercomputers, from your mobile phones. AI can be running from anywhere. That's a processing capacity. And finally, you have a human expertise. What is this human expertise, team? Human expertise means that one major point we have to keep in mind is that now there are two things. One is, let's say for example, like I want to use a AI system. Okay, what kind of AI system I want to use, which algorithm we have to utilize, what about the data which we are training the AI system on. If the AI is basically doing some results, I want to make sure that result is properly ethical, it's not biased. There should be a human intervention in between. So human is basically the key entity which basically makes sure that we are able to manage the AI and control the AI efficiently, decide or basically how, which algorithms to use, how to basically ensure that AI is aligning with the proper guidelines and all. So human expertise is the most important thing there, right? So that's the reason these are the four building blocks of AI. Okay, these are the four building blocks of the AI. So team, now when talking about the AI, okay, so we have a AI based on we can classify AI based on functionality, we can classify AI based on capabilities, we can classify AI based on multiple factors. Okay, and the most common type is basically we can classify them based on capabilities and functionality. When we basically say the word capabilities, we can classify AI based on capabilities into three types, like a narrow AI, or also called as weak AI. Then we have a general AI, and we have super AI. So now, as of now, all the things you see, like that's ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, or any AI systems you see nowadays, is basically what? Is basically the narrow AI. That means it's also called as weak AI. So to do a specific task, so for example, to provide to work as a virtual assistant to you, to basically have a email filter, or those kind of things are basically what we call as a narrow AI. Okay, and these are specialized for doing certain activities you want, but not. It is not intellectual as the way humans are. Right? It is not intellectual as the way humans are. So that is where general AI is coming in picture. So when you basically go for something called a general AI, it is something which can basically do task as the way humans do, like adaptability, understanding, reasoning. They're able to work as the way as the intellectual capabilities as humans. That's what we call as general AI. We are far away from that. It's still getting processed. It's not at all in market now. It's in research. Okay. And in future, we are expecting something called a super AI, which is something which is working beyond the human intelligence for decision making, for creativity, and multiple aspects. That's like something which is basically far more beyond than what you have in the world now. But again, We can't say it's basically going to be some thousand years ahead. Maybe it can happen a few days also after also, because people now things are improving, per second basis, right? Like the same way. Now that's a common type which is basically there. Now you can basically have AI based on multiple capabilities also. Like you can been talking about AI, we can have them based on capabilities. Like we have a reactive machines. What is a reactive machines thing? Like based on some rules it can work. That's all. Like we have a situation there, based on this pre-programmed rules they can work. That's called as a reactive machines. And what is limited memory? So basically, like now I'll give an example. Self-driving cars. What is self-driving car? Like for example, based on the current weather data and current data which they have collected, they're able to adjust the speed and position like that. That's a limited memory AI, which don't store things for a long time. Then we have theory of, what is theory of mind? Theory of mind means that which basically understand and work based on human beliefs and desires. Like when you basically go for AI, if you basically tell them to consider factors with some emotions and all, it cannot do that, right? And when you basically go for theory of mind kind of AI, it can basically do things like or with the human emotions and mental states as well. And finally, basically this is not there in the market now. It is now trying to get integrated. It's still in research because it's not a easy to task to compare like a human and all. And finally we have a self-aware AI, which basically know that it exists. So we have a consciousness. So now basically when you say you are there, that means you have a consciousness, is basically saying you are there, right? Like the same way, AI basically will have a consciousness of its own existence, and like that's what we call as a self-aware AI. Like this, we have a different ways for classifying AI. Like we have a based on functionality, based on capabilities, based on a learning type, based on output. We have different type of AIs there. I'll give an example for a based on output. You heard about this Gen AI, right? We have a common thing called as Gen AI. Gen AI is basically kind of a we can say a type of AI. So for example, when you basically go for a normal thing, what happens? We have two types we can classify. Like just the AI which learns, which is called as traditional AI, and which can basically generate new output, is called as Gen AI. I'll give an example, team. Now, let's say for example, you go to ChatGPT. Can ChatGPT generate new image, team? Can ChatGPT generate a new image based on the factors you have, based on the inputs you have given? Possible, right? It is possible for you to basically create an image using ChatGPT, right? It is possible for you to create a fake or a video which does not exist using ChatGPT or Gemini, etc. Right? How is it possible? It is able to create new content. It is able to create new content based on data they have trained. That's called as a Gen AI or generative AI. And the traditional AI is something which is basically just able to identify things or recognize things like that. Okay. Now, when talking about AI, okay, or AI or ML, we can say, when talking about AI and ML, how do they learn? So you want to make your machines learn, right? You want to make your machines learn to have intelligence, right? And that is what we call as a machine learning. You want to make them learn. You want to make your computer, you want to make your machines learn. So how can I make them learn? There are multiple ways we can make them learn. Okay, there are multiple ways we can make them learn, like supervised learning. And so like we have I mean, just I'll give you a quick overview of this. Supervised means what? So I'll give an example. Now when talking about the supervised learning, it means that, so you are giving them, okay, you are giving them some, let's say some 1 million images of cats, 1 million images of dogs. Like this, you are giving them multiple images, and they will, and you clearly has mentioned that these are the images of cats, these are the images of dogs, these are the images of pandas, these are the images of a lion. Like this, you clearly label the data, you clearly label the data, that this is an image of a cat, this is image of a dog. Like this, you clearly label data, and the AI model is able to find the connection between the image, like the shape of the ears, the face, the fur, like that. That's basically what we call as a supervised learning. So I'll give an example. So if you basically go to a medical industry, you basically give some 1 million medical reports or scan reports, etc., to a AI model, and clearly mention if this is there, if this particular symbol is there, it's a this disease. Like this, you are giving them inputs. So you are giving a millions of data, which is basically you know given, which is pre-labeled like a textbook, is what we call as a supervised learning. Okay, but here team, one thing which you have to keep in mind is that, so if the entire model is based on data you are giving, right? So the data which you have labeled and given to the AI model, you are getting the proper output. But tell me one thing, what happens if I mislabel the data? So when you mislabel data, what happens is that the AI model also will give a lot of false outputs, incorrect outputs, a lot of it will be there. That's why we always say this word called as garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. That means if you properly give inputs, you'll get the proper outputs. If you give confusing or junk out inputs, it will basically give you that kind of output. So when you basically go for learning or making an AI model learn, if you give the good proper inputs, you'll get proper output. If you give garbage in, you will get garbage out. That's a very important thing. Now the next one is basically what we call as the unsupervised learning. What is unsupervised learning? So team, unsupervised learning means that now here in the supervised, you tell them, you label every data. Like for example, this is the picture of a cat, this is the picture of a dog, this is the picture of a lion. But if you basically go for unsupervised learning, you never label data. You will give them data for sure, data is there, but you never label them. That means you give some maybe 1 million pictures, let's suppose. They have to identify the differences. Like I'll give you a very common benefit of this. In the previous scenario, they will only identify the images as cats, dogs, and lions. If you give a new picture, they will tell you whether it's a cat or dog or lion. But if you basically go for unsupervised learning, the benefit is that you are giving data without any label or guidance. So what happens? They will give you hidden structures also. That means what? Okay, now you are giving them a picture of a uh, like a eagle, a cat, okay, a human. Okay, you're giving three pictures: eagle, cat, human. But you have not given them what? You have not given them label that this is a eagle or cat or dog. So what they will identify? They can identify that, okay, eagle is two-legged, cat is four-legged, humans are two-legged. Then eagle have, so those which have a wings, those which have a hand, those on 4 foot. Like the same way, they can identify different patterns which is not commonly recognized. That's what we call as unsupervised learning. Like the best thing is, I'll give an example. So like for example, now when you basically go to a shopping site, can I basically group customers based on names? No, right? I have to group customers based on the purchase history, other demographics, and all, right? So that is basically useful when you go for when we use unsupervised learning. Then we have something called as reinforcement learning. What is reinforcement learning? This is the exact like you train a dog. If you have a dog you have in your house, or if you have a dog you have trained before, you know that there is something called as reinforcement learning. So basically, let's say you tell them this is good or bad, or even you train a child. Okay, so you tell the child this is good, this is bad. So basically, let's say for example, a child is doing something and you're telling them this is not good, this is this is going to harm you. So what he will do? He will not do it again, right? So that is called as reinforcement learning. You have a trial and error. You basically uh, you know uh, reward and penalty, we can say. Basically you tell them that this is fine, this is not fine, this is good, this is bad, this is basically rewarding, this is this is penalizing. Like the same way you are telling them various, that's called as reinforcement learning. And finally, the other one is not a common type, but we have something called as semi supervised learning. That means that you give a few amount of data which is supervised or labeled, and other data we are not labeling. Like that's a supervised, I mean semi supervised. Like this, we have different ways we can train an AI model. In fact, there is a lot of algorithms you can find. There is a lot of algorithms you can find based on this and all, but I'm just telling you this. Now coming to the key aspect of it, how can cloud help in this AI? Okay, now AI is there, and basically how can cloud help in this AI? In fact, like many people, I'm as a cloud professional for a long time, I can see there is a lot of people ask me questions regarding, Krish, I'm a cloud guy, so AI is there in the market. So does it mean my cloud journey is over? Or does it mean the cloud is going to be outdated? The same question was there when to the people who was working in virtualization when cloud came in the market. The same question was there to the accountants when Excel came in market. So Tim, the answer is when you basically go for AI, when talking about having an AI models in the market now, cloud is the primary playground used by almost many AI model or AIs now in the market. The reason is because apart from that models or apart from the data and algorithm, what is one foundation thing every AI needs? Computational capacity, the building block, the infrastructure, the computational capacity. And is it like they can have a small amount of that? No, they want to have a capacity to basically build or scale as per the need. That's the first thing, which is not they have to spend a huge amount of money for building and managing the ever changing infrastructure, right? So to provide a centralized accessible option to basically provide a cost efficient scalable infrastructure. That's a primary reason why cloud is the primary base hosting platform for every AI now, or almost every AI now in the market. Even if you go for cloud, I'll give an example. Now let's say for example I go to my AWS cloud platform. Just an example, you can go to any cloud actually. So I'm going to the AWS cloud platform, and I can basically host a server in my cloud platform. Simple. Okay, nothing, no complex thing. I can basically go to my cloud platform. I can host a simple server in my AWS cloud or Azure cloud, and then I can host a model inside that. That's a simple thing. Okay, I can basically host things like that, or I can basically get pre-trained models also. That means what? First of all, we have something called as AI as a service. What is AI as a service as? I'll give an example, team. I'll give an example. So I'm going to something called as a AWS, and I'm going to something called as a AWS recognition. Okay. Now let me tell you a scenario. Okay, let me tell you a scenario. Team, you want every workers in a construction site. Okay, you want every workers in a construction site to be verified for the personal protection equipments they are wearing. Okay, so for example, let's say there's a people walking into the construction site. You want to make sure every employee or every people working in the construction site should have a proper personal protection equipments, PPEs equipments. They should wear that. How do I ensure that every employee is wearing their personal protection equipments? There's a possibility that some of the employees can take off that hat or maybe that safety helmet or glove and all, right? Possible, right? So what I can do, I can use this pre-trained AI model. I can use this pre-trained AI model. So by using this pre-trained AI model, the AI model is able to do what? This AI model is able to identify the various PPE equipments and give you alerts. See, simple. I can simply tell them that using this particular pre-trained AI, this is a pre-trained AI model there. So you don't have to do anything. You have to simply integrate that with your existing application or program. Quite simple, right? Quite simple. Now you want to basically so how, like, I'll give you a very common challenge now. Team, do I have any guarantee that, let's say for example, I'm interviewing a candidate. Okay, I'm interviewing a candidate. Do I have any guarantee that the person on the other side is the real person there? So for example, I am going to interview a candidate, and do I have any guarantee that the person who is on the other side of me is the real person? There's a possibility that he can use a deepfake video there, right? What do you say, team? Possible, right? It is possible for a person who can use his deepfake model instead of his real person, right? So what we do there, I can simply use this particular thing by using this particular this SaaS AI model which is pre-trained. I can make sure that the person on the other side is not a deepfake and it's a real person. See, it's easy, right? So this is basically what we call as AI as a service for SaaS. Then if you want to have models but you want to train for your purpose, okay, if you basically want to have models, okay, which is basically there, and you want to customize it as per your requirements, then we'll go for a PaaS based AI service. Like for example, let's say you can go for something called as a, what we can say, there's a lot of things there. Bedrock is a very common thing, one of the top things in the market now, Bedrock. So there is a Bedrock is basically having what they support a lot of models like Meta, Stability AI, Titan, a lot of things they support. So using that particular models, what we can do, we can train based on our requirement. That's basically what we call as a PaaS based AI training or AI as a service. And third thing is what? And third thing is you can create just host servers there and manage it accordingly, right? So like this, the cloud is basically offering many options in any aspect you want, storing for storing data, for managing it all. They offer you many options for AI. But at the same time, they offer you solutions there. They also basically have a lot of challenges actually. Okay. So as you are, when you basically say you are training the AI model based on data, you are using some petabytes or exabytes of data, right? So basically what happens, as we have a lot of data there, you should make sure the cloud is able to support that, plus the cloud is able to secure the data, right? That's a very important challenge. Then the complexity of different, we have a different types of data. That means what, we have not only one kind of, we have data like structured data, unstructured data, we have images, audio, video, etc, right? So basically what happens, for securing each kind of data, you should basically have what, you should have different kind of storage options, you should have different approaches and all, right? So that is the challenge we have. Then we should be able to classify the data based on the requirements we have, right? We should basically make sure the models and data we are hosting in the cloud is properly secured. What if one of your employee make a mistake? The cloud itself make a lot of challenges, right? Like this, when you basically go to data in the cloud platform for AI and all, it can be very much challenging, generally speaking. Now, how do I basically address all these things? If you want to address all these things, team, you should have a proper AI governance. I can say that you should have a proper AI governance. And if you want to have a proper AI governance, there are multiple things you should have, team. First of all, obviously, what is the primary thing of governance? If you want to have an effective governance, establish clear policies. You should make sure that you should have a clear policies, you should have a clear ethical guidelines, you should have a clear standards for developing and storing the models, you should have a clear protocols for storing AI on the cloud platform. That's a most important for AI governance. And you should be clear with who is responsible for what activity, to assign the accountability for data governance, model development, security, compliance. So you should have a clear set of instructions on who is responsible for all these activities. Make sure we adopt proper frameworks. Like we have a lot of standards in the market now, right? If you talk about the AI and all, you have a lot of things in the market now, right? What is that examples? Like you have a like lot of things are there, right, in the market. You have this NIST AI risk management framework is there. Then you have this ISO 42001 is there. A lot of things are there to help you to develop and design the risk management and the AI framework. That's a very, very important thing. Make sure that you should have a proper data governance. So when talking about storing or managing data in the cloud, starting from acquisition to storage or processing or lifecycle management, it's a very important fourth thing to have, to make sure that you should have a proper understanding. And you should also be able to make sure you're able to have a proper security governance there for the various security practices you have to follow based on compliance factors like GDPR, HIPAA, like that. And you should have a continuous monitoring and auditability as well. Like this, there is a lot of factors we have to go through when talking about governing for the AI in cloud. And to make sure, team, we can develop a proper framework there. This is a high level overview. Okay, this is the proper step-by-step approach we have to follow for developing a proper AI governance framework. I'll quickly explain this once and we'll finish, team. So when talking about defining an AI governance framework, the first thing is that we should understand why we go for AI. Okay, if you basically want to have a proper AI governance, the first thing is that we should understand why we basically go for this AI. What is the reason why company want to go for AI? Like, and what is the particular aspects in your company? Like, I'll give an example. Let's say, for example, there is a bank who is basically want to do a loan approval. Okay, so instead of doing it with people, I can basically do the loan approval using AI application. So what happens when a person is requesting for a loan from a bank, instead of a person verifying everything one by one, we can use AI for that. So what is the challenge? What is your objective there? You should make sure that the AI model is able to identify the proper can right people for to get to be qualified for the loans, and there should not be any discrimination, right? Then once we understand what is the reason why we are going for AI, why we need AI governance and all the aspects of AI, then you should clearly understand what are the team. Please keep your mics on mute if you're not talking. So just give me a minute. So team, the next is that you have to make sure that you should be able to classify data. So basically what kind of data you're using the AI model, and makes, like for example, if it's a financial data of the customers which is used by the AI, you should make sure it's sensitive and properly restricted. Then for each kind of data, you should be clear with how long you're going to, or how you are collecting it, what is the purpose you're using it, how long you will store it, when you will delete it. You should have a clear understanding of that, because that the various frameworks and all mandates that. Then make sure that for the model also you're using, make sure you should be aware of the model, and they should be having a proper understanding of the model and activities they're performing. And even though whatever you're performing, sometimes this biasing can happen, right? So you have to make sure that the AI decisions can be explainable. That's a very important thing in the GDPR, I mean the EU Act, we can say explainability of that. So basically when there is an outcome is coming, when there is a person who is let's say for example we have a recruitment software, or when we have something, when we reject a loan application, when we reject a candidate, we should have a reason why clearly that happened. Very important. Then you should make sure that the AI systems are safe from any kind of cyber threats or safe issues, because if there is something goes wrong, like for example we are storing it on a cloud storage, tomorrow if it get compromised, what happens? It can affect your entire organization, right? Like that. And every activity you're performing in that must be visible and must be recorded. And we should basically comply with some particular standards and frameworks and all, like for example let's say for if you are using medical data, you should comply with the HIPAA. If you basically have to, you're using European data, you have to comply with GDPR. Like that, be clear with the particular kind of data you're going to comply with. And when you go for AI, you should not have technical people only. Always make sure AI needs a cross-functional team in your company, including legal experts, including AI engineers, including people from different aspects, because we should not have a biasing and all, right, like that. And finally, make sure every activity which is basically happened, you should basically have a proper documentation of it. Like this, we should have a proper AI framework there, which can basically support the organization. And especially when you go to cloud platform team, these risks are ever increasing. So we should make sure that we should have a proper governance to help address all those challenges in a continuous manner. And this is not a one-time job, it's a continuous activity which you are performing. Got a team?